for those of you who are in Europe, or actually, no, hold on, not Europe, United States. Those of you who are in the United States, you can finally catch this live, because it's probably an acceptable hour for you. Unlike here, it's 7 a.m., right? One of the problems with being a streamer, if you're not aware, is the sleeping schedule. Like you don't have working hours, and so oftentimes day turns into night, night times turns into day, and you end up streaming at 7 a.m. before anyone asks, because it's like, why didn't you go to bed? I just woke up. That's why I don't go to bed. And I woke up to two interesting things. I woke up to the Romanian debate happening last night between the two presidential candidates. We're going to talk about it in a little bit. Woke up to the American Pope. USA. I don't think there was an American Pope until now. That's interesting. Isn't America Protestant? Like, how many Catholics do you guys have? Is it popular there? Is Catholicism popular in the United States? Because I know you guys have a lot of Protestants. And then like weird shit, like Quakers and the Church of Many Saints. Mormons, yes. You got a lot of interesting things in America. You guys also exported Scientology to us, right? So I don't know like how strong Catholicism is. I know that Joe Biden was a Catholic, allegedly. Apparently the Midwest has a ton of Catholics. Well, how much is a ton? Like Europe has a ton of Catholics, right? Is it more than Europe or less? Anyway, V is in EU, so you have to view it like it's 12 midnight. It is kind of like 7 a.m., dude. This is the... Shut up, V. No one cares what you have to say. This is the hour here. It's early in the morning. Anyway, right, I need to address a couple of things. Apparently, a lot of people are upset that I deleted a video where I was defending synthetic man, which is true. I did delete a video where I was defending synthetic man. It's still on BitChute. I'm not ashamed of it. You know, a lot of people seem to have a problem with synthetic man. I don't know what the problem is. I find his videos funny. Like, I click on his videos, and he's bringing laughter into my life. And so his net contribution to my well-being is vastly superior than any people bitching about what he did, right? Like, but don't you know what? No, I generally don't. Nor do I fucking care. He brings joy into my life. Are you bringing joy into my life? No? Then you can go fuck yourself. You're not bringing joy into my life, and you're coming. It's like, but do you know? No, I don't. But I know that you're being disgusting right now. When you make me smile, then you can be on the same level as synthetic man. That's what you need to do. You need to make me smile. Why did I delete the videos? Okay, if I remember correctly, this was a couple of months ago, so my memory is a little bit fuzzy. I think I may have deleted one, because I actually said something incorrect in it, right? So, like, I actually, goofed. It was the one with Silent Hill, if I'm not mistaken, right? The one with Silent Hill, I went like a cheeky little shit to the actual developer of Silent Hill, and I was like, why don't you know how to make a woman? Why are you so shit at your job? You're incapable of making a good game. And then I found out, dude, like, that's the original developer of Silent Hill, and I'm like, is it? Like, hold on a little bit. Like, did that guy actually make... Why is he so incompetent now? Why is he so shit at this job? But then I thought, you know, maybe I went a little bit too aggressive. I actually like the guy. Like, he made a good game back in the day. And it wasn't like the message that I said that I disagreed with. It's just like the tone. You know, like, maybe I should have chilled out a little bit. Like, he's Japanese. He's taking things more difficultly, you know? And it turns out that after I gave him the stern talking to, you know, calling him shit at his job and lack of talent and stuff, turns out that a couple of weeks later, the character that I was complaining about, it turns out that they did change it. Like, they did realize that there were a couple of problems with it, and they actually did change it. So, you know, okay, you know, fine. The other video I deleted because it got demonetized. Now, most of my content creator group, if you will, because like we talk with other content creators, we share news and articles and shit, and we also share things that work and things that don't work on the platform. And apparently, having demonetized videos is really bad for the algorithm. And so if a video gets demonetized, I just delete it. And it's on BitChute. Like, you can still find it. It's not that I'm ashamed of it. It's just that I don't want the algorithm to prevent you guys from seeing more videos. This is literally what I do. It's a product. Like, I want people to watch it. If I didn't want people to watch my videos, I would talk with the walls. Whether you agree or disagree with the tactic, it is what it is. I've always done it. So it's not about Synthetic Man. Well, actually it is, because he is the one that said something really triggering the YouTube algorithm, right? It wasn't something that I disagreed with. It's just like the way he framed it. I think he may have called the woman a whore or some shit. I don't know. One of the characters from the game, not a real person. Again, like this happened months ago, right? So the algorithm didn't like it. I got the yellow icon. I was like, okay, well, fine, delete it. I left it up a couple of days. Everyone got to see the video. I deleted it. I know that some people may not agree, but again, it's not because I don't like the Synthetic Man or I don't appreciate about his contributions to the video gaming industry. It's just that I didn't want YouTube to be upset and not shill my videos, right? Because if I have to choose between Synthetic Man and YouTube, I'm sorry, Synthetic Man, it is what it is. It's realpolitik. Realpolitik, not ideology, not anything like that, right? Let me put it this way. When YouTube demonetizes me, I delete myself. So, there we go. YouTube Uberales. Maybe in the future, you know, I'll do something on another platform, and then I won't have to suck the corporate cock as much as I suck it now. But this is why Synthetic Man has more viewers than I do. He doesn't suck the corporate cock, and therefore he deserves more viewers. Alright. Dashing Rogue, no problem. I never keep these tips hidden. I just noticed it, you know, like you release a video. Let's say it's got like 15,000 views, right? And your channel, like, let's say like mine, usually gets like an average of 15,000 views per video. And you release one, gets demonetized, the next video 2,000 views, the next video 3,000 views. And it's like, okay, well, it is unfortunate. Steven Znizek, thank you for the $5. Tragically, I was not elected as Pope. We won't be seeing Catholic priests forced to wear Orthodox vestments. I don't think you can get elected if you're not a Catholic, though. I know you need to be a man, and you need to be baptized. But I think you need to be baptized by the Catholics. Like, you can't be baptized by the Orthodox, right? So, like, I was baptized incorrectly, and I don't think I could have become a Pope. Would have been interesting, like, if the president of the United States would have become Pope. Apparently, like, this is a big controversy. Do you know that there's, like, left-leaning people that are Catholics? Like, that is fascinating, isn't it? But, like, yeah, you have, like, Democrats that are Catholics. And they were very upset about Donald Trump posting a meme of himself looking as the Vicar of Earth on his social media account. And these people were upset. It's like, oh, well, why don't you know that it was posted? And he's like, I didn't post it. And you're like, oh, it's on your account. It's like, yeah, but, you know, he's president. He's got aides and staff. Like, it's unlikely he posts shit himself. But anyway, they were really upset. They were livid that Donald Trump posted the meme as Pope. And it would have been funny if Donald Trump would have become the Pope. I know it's impossible, but it would have been funny if. Then they would have been happy. Then they, you know, because if you're an actual Christian, right, and you actually believe, they could say, well, it was God's will, right? Like, Donald Trump actually posted a meme of himself as the Pope, and then he got elected as the Pope, and it's a miracle. Unironically, though, I'm going to say this, okay? Chat, listen to me a little bit. If Donald Trump was to become Pope, I would have stopped being an atheist. Because at that point, you just can't fucking deny it anymore. Like, you have a man that manages to avoid 2 assassinations attempts, then posts a meme with himself becoming the Pope, and then gets elected as the Pope, I would be like, no, like, there must be something about that religion. Like, there is something about Catholicism. I would have stopped doing ushi-kushi anime games. I would be like, okay, I'm a good Christian now. I don't gamble. I don't, right? No, but like, seriously, how would you refute that, right? You have Donald Trump, and against all odds, he manages to become U.S. president and avoids an assassination attempt, and now he's the Pope. Would also be interesting, though. How exactly would it be that he would run as president and pope at the same time? I guess we'll never find out. No black pope. Well, when Africa is going to become relevant to international geopolitics events, you're going to have a black pope. Let me put it this way, right? This is something that most people have noticed that follow the history of the church. Historically, the popes are selected based on what is happening in the world, right? Like the Catholic Church is trying to influence international politics, and to a certain extent, I think it's doing a good job. And so when you have the Cold War, the Catholic Church has to choose. Do we choose the godless communists that are destroying our churches and persecuting Christians? Or do we choose the United States with its imperialism and everything else that we don't like? Well, I guess we're going to choose the West, right? And they choose a Polish priest. When you have woke ideology, like you have social justice and BLM and environmentalism, and it's everywhere on Earth, and atheism is on the rise, it's trendy to be an atheist. Well, I think they went with the orthodox saying that a tree that's bent doesn't get broken. And so they're like, okay, we're going to have a progressive pope. And, the woke storm is going to go away, which it does. But it's not going to destroy our church, right? Because, like, the tree that bends doesn't get broken. And it's like, okay, well, the wind is going to stop at some point. And I do think that the current pope is a lot more conservative than the previous one. I think, like, they elected the pope that's more right-wing. Not the same like the previous one. And if you're looking at it through the perception of 100 years, I think they made a good choice, right? Like, the woke ideology was a very powerful ideological movement that was intent on destroying everything that wasn't woke. And so if you have a pope that's playing ball for, a couple of decades, and then you elect someone that's more conservative, I think that's actual wisdom. I think that's the correct way of running such an institution. What do you guys think, huh? Like, do you think it was a bad idea to have a woke pope during the time of peak wokeness? Because at the end of the day, like, let's assume that the pope was conservative. What exactly would they have been able to do? Like, if the entire media and the entire academia during the peak of woke ideology would have turned against the Catholic Church, I don't think it could have done much. I don't think it would have the power to fight off against such a strong cultural movement. So I don't think they did good. Did I watch the new IDubbbz drama? If I say unironically that I don't have a fucking clue who IDubbbz is, would you believe me? Because I don't. I have no idea who IDubbbz is. I'm pretty sure he's an important person. I know he's connected to H3H3, and in his infinite wisdom, he has decided to affiliate himself with Hassan Piker. Like, that's the thing that I do know. But other than that, I've literally no clue. I have no idea who he is, what he stands for, etc., etc. Right, hold on. Why is YouTube suppressing me, or is it a bad time to stream? I think it's a bad time to stream. I usually don't stream at this hour. Because I usually get like 200 or 250 people watching. And now we're getting 80, which is fine, But it's just me wondering if YouTube is sending the recommendations. Like, if you guys can post the stream on Discord servers or some shit like that, I would appreciate it. I need to start streaming a little bit more professional. Get some guests in. I need to get some guests. Do some collabs. Most people don't know I exist anymore. Anyway. I never watch Content Cop, so I can believe you wouldn't know, since I barely know him. There you go. There's like 6 of us in chat. Dude, it's 74. There's 74 people in chat. Unless we assume the dead internet theory, which suggests that most of you are bots. Which could also be a possibility. Speaking of Israel, apparently Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu are having a fallout. And immediately people are talking about the end times. Like, this is so fucking Protestant in nature. It's hilarious, right? I haven't heard like the Catholics or the Orthodox usually talk about the end times. Like, is that a thing that happens in your country? Like, if you're Catholic, right? Do the Catholics go, it's like, and then the whore of Babylon has appeared, and she had a goblet with all the filth in the world. Like, do you have that? But my God, like with the Protestants, it's on a daily fucking basis. And with quotes from the Bible, like Psalms and Mark and like Revelation 7:45, Revelation. So apparently, because Trump and Netanyahu are having a spat, they're like, and then the whore turned on the beast, and the beast decided to unmount the whore. And Revelation 7, dude, I predicted this would happen because it's just like in the Bible. And the funny thing is, it's like, look, in the Bible itself, it says, if my knowledge is correct, it says that not even Jesus knows when the end of times is coming. Only the Father knows when the end. Okay, so if Jesus doesn't know, apparently you do. But the second thing, if you look at the history, like it's almost every single decade, it's like environmentalism, literally the same shit. It's like, oh, it's in the Bible, the end of times is coming, the rapture, we're going to get raptured. Like, you guys get that often? Is it a Protestant thing? Like, do you have it once a decade or once every 5 years? Yeah, I think they're evangelicals. Yeah, isn't like evangelicals like an offshoot of Protestantism? Like, is it the same? Please correct me. I guess I'm technically a Protestant, but my interpretation of the end times is less literal. I would say the same. Like, okay, let's assume that the Bible is real, right? Like I'm willing to put myself into the shoes of a Christian and assume that the Bible is real. What exactly would be the revelation? Sorry, what exactly would be the end times? Well, it's something that happens after our time, right? Like, it's in the future. So the idea, like, imagine you're taking a person from the past. Like, imagine you're taking a person from, like year 0, right? Like, after Jesus died. So you're taking a person from, like, 2,000 years ago, and let's say you're showing him the war in Ukraine. What exactly would... No, seriously. Do you think he would be able to even write it accurately? Like, he has no perception of anything past a carriage and a horse. If he sees drones, if he sees, like can he articulate political events? Like, imagine you're sending a guy from 2,000 years ago, and you're bringing him in the future, and you're showing him Israel versus Palestine, right? And then with his own words, with his own meaning, he writes a book for people 2,000 years. The entire thing is useless. It cannot be usable. Like, the people at the time don't know what the fuck he's talking about. You probably wouldn't know. Like, you wouldn't know either. Like the way the person is describing shit, that like seeing stuff that he has no words to even put it in a grammatical framework, is going to be like so confusing for you as well. Yeah, drones might be the animals attacking. Exactly, but like, look, again, imagine you're stealing a person from the past, right? You're taking someone from 2,000 years ago, and you're asking him to write about the Israeli and Palestinian conflict. When you read what he wrote, do you think you'll understand anything? Like, would it make any sense? Would it, right? Like, reminder that Sodom was hit by an asteroid. I don't think it would be hit by an asteroid. The whole thing with Sodom is that when that bitch turned around to look, she turned into salt. Right? So, I don't think it was something non-magical. Like, if it turns people into salt just by looking at it, then you can't say that it was a nuclear weapon. You can't say that it was an asteroid. Like, whatever it was, if you're assuming that it was technological and not just like the wrath of God, then just by looking at that shit would kill you, right? Like, this is why God tells what was the name of the guy that managed to flee? Tells him, like, don't look back, right? Like, because whatever the fuck he did there was transmissible by sight. Like, even if you weren't in the city and you would just look at it, you would transform into salt. And again, like the description of salt, like that may be ash, or it may be like the blood in the human body was salty, and but whatever, it was some magical shit there. Like, it wasn't a nuke, it wasn't an asteroid. The way it's described is that it was something that if you looked at it, you would die. 338-27950-288. Good morning to you as well. Sodomizing angels is a no-no. It's interesting because when I read the story as a kid, the sodomizing of the angels wasn't as bad as the fact that they were travelers. Like, that was, I mean, the sodomizing was bad itself, but like what was even worse at the time, what was considered even worse than sodomizing the angels, was the way they treated travelers, right? Like, treating travelers was something sacred. And it kind of makes sense, right? Because, like, in a medieval society, you don't have trucks and logistics. But what you do have is merchants. And if the merchants know that if you go into that town, you get bootfucked, then many merchants who don't want to get bootfucked are not going to go into the town. And so if merchants don't go into the town starves. And so, like, bootfucking takes second place over how you're treating travelers, right? Like, bootfucking bad, but treating travelers bad is even worse. Is the new Pope cool? Yeah, he's more conservative than the previous one. But apparently he did have a spat with J.D. Vance. And we're going to talk about the J.D. Vance shit. 15 gigawatts vanished in Spain and Portugal. Is it EMP or a sun flare or God's punishment? Okay, so my assessment with the whole thing in Portugal, I listened to their explanations, and I gotta say I'm not convinced. And so I don't think it's an EMP, because where the fuck is Portugal? Is it a strategic place? Does it have any military importance? No, it's fucking Portugal, right? And so I don't think like anyone wants to harm Portugal. There were no hackers that demanded ransom. I don't think it's an EMP. What I think it is either, number one, something that they're embarrassed to make public, because that's a possibility, right? Like, some shit happens and it looks so fucking bad on the people responsible that they want to just move on. Like, don't tell the public because it looks fucking bad, right? So, like, that's possibility number one. Possibility number two, they don't fucking know. Like, there is this assumption that because they're from the government, they always know. But sometimes, even the government doesn't know. And so it's a weird, natural phenomenon. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, speak plainly, man. Speak clearly. What is, like, right? So either they don't want to say because they're embarrassed, or they don't know. $20 of buyer's remorse from Blasterbot. Well, thank you. I'm actually going to give you $30 worth of buyer's remorse because we're experiencing inflation. I also noticed it's interesting because I can only take money off YouTube at the end of the month. And so by the time I can take them, inflation kicks in and I get less money. It was an EMP. The situation would have been fried. Yeah, exactly. Like, if it was an EMP, it would have affected a larger radius. Like, you'd have people complaining that their phones don't work. You'd have cars not able to start. And so it's most likely not an EMP. Solar flare. Is it a solar flare? Again, like the interesting thing is that the other electronics, at least that we know of, weren't affected, right? Like, people didn't come in and complain that their laptops are fried. They didn't come in and said that their televisions aren't working. And so whatever happened, either they don't know themselves or they're embarrassed. The problem is, will it happen again? And it's a really fucked up thing to realize that being without power in 2025 is a lot worse than being without power in the 70s. And what I mean by this, okay, in the 70s, you have landlines. Okay, like the landlines usually have backup power. People have radios with batteries and shit. Things are different, right? Now everything is on computer. Everything is digitalized. You want to take some cash. You have a credit card that if the power is down, this is my favorite thing, right? Like it just BTFO the people that were arguing with me. I don't know why people argue with me, because I'm always right, especially when it comes to Bitcoin. Like I was telling people, look, if you want to save money, the best thing to do is to either buy land, bullets, or gold. Historically speaking, since Adam and Eve were walking in the garden with a leaf, since that fucking time, what we know is that gold, land, and bullets had value. Not bullets at the time, it was like swords and shit. But like, throughout human history, these things inherently had value. No matter the famine, no matter how bad things are, right? Land you use to grow food. Weapons you use to defend the food that you've grown. And gold is universal. And so, throughout human history, these things, no matter how bad things were, they usually had the same value. But now you have the Bitcoin bros. And it's like, oh, but V, you don't understand. Crypto, V, crypto. And it's like, okay. Any ideology that treats something as messianic, like you're going to make me doubt. Like, crypto will save us, V, crypto. Okay. I never say don't buy crypto. Buy the fucking crypto if you want. But I'm saying, like, I personally, if I want to save money, land, bullets, which I can't because I'm in Romania, so it leaves land, and gold. Preferably silver. I don't really prefer gold because it's a lot harder to sell. Anyway, right. If you have a power outage, a nationwide power outage. How do you take your crypto? How do you pay with crypto? What do you do with your crypto, right? You do jack shit. Now let's assume that you have silver. Oh, well, you can trade silver, that's fine. You know, like you can go to a neighbor and you can say, look, I'm kind of hungry. Do you have some tin cans of food, some stock food? I got some silver. Yeah, you can trade silver. If you have land, let's say that the power outage is down for a couple of months. Yeah, you can trade your land. You can make a contract with someone and it's like, look, I'm desperate. I'll give you this land. It's worth this much. Yeah. But your crypto, the crypto, okay. Invest in the metals of the Bible, gold, iron, and lead. Yeah, I personally prefer silver though. The reason that gold is not preferable is that it's difficult to find a buyer. It's very expensive. And so like finding people to buy it, it's more difficult. Silver, a lot easier. The dashing rogue, Sodom is the dead. See a pillar that is Lot's wife. Google millennialism and Joachim of Yore. Marxism copies Revelations and don't immonetize the Eschaton. Chat, I wanna read Dashing Rogue's super chat, but I don't understand what he's saying. So, millennialism. Yeah, millennialism is like the end of the world shit, right? When they thought that the world is ending in the year 2000. Marxism copies Revelation. It wouldn't surprise me. Don't immonetize. This is what I don't get. Don't immonetize the Eschaton. What does immonetize the Eschaton mean, chat? Huh? Silver isn't that valuable. You're not stocking in order to have wealth until the end of days. You're stocking that if an emergency happens for a month, you're not going to suffer, right? Like that's the purpose of silver. If you have like a lot of money, then you buy land. I put 10% of my paycheck into silver. At this point, it's done better than my coworkers. Yeah, see, there you go. Cole Summers agrees with me. And if Cole Summers agrees with me, who are we to disagree? Cole Summers is the wise man. Look, even his anime PFP, right? Like, look at the anime PFP. Let's just look at it. Fucking look at it, right? Like he's laughing. Why? Because he bought silver and you didn't. He's well off, you're not. He's laughing at you. I think you should. Anyway. I believe in the old school crypto. 5.56 standard 30-round crypto wallet magazine. Yeah, if you're American and you buy bullets, bullets are usually stable with whatever economy hits. People always want bullets. Here's the thing, and I gotta say, even if you don't need it, like, people feel safer. Let's say you have no power, which means you can't call anyone. Even if your phone has battery, the phone tower doesn't work, right? And so you can't dial 911, you can't call your mom, you can't call the neighbors, there's just shit you can't do. Now, if you have a house, what happens if someone comes to rob you? What do? You can't call 911. But even if someone doesn't come to rob you, let's say someone needs help, right? Like maybe your neighbor is in trouble. What do? Well, you can't call 911. You can't call anyone. What if you have a wild animal like a hog or some shit? This is why people want weapons during times of crisis. Even if they don't use it, they feel safe. Like, you feel safe knowing that in your house there is a gun. That you have the ability to defend yourself and your family if bad shit happens. And so bullets will always have a price. Like they will always be worthwhile. Again, if you're in the United States. If you're not in the United States, then tough shit. If someone comes to rob you, you never tell the police about the mound in the back. Well, if someone comes to rob you, it's called self-defense. And you have like a... Not to mention, if someone comes to rob you during a national emergency like a power outage, oof. Like that's actually worse for them. In many countries, that's like beyond aggravated. That's usually a different crime altogether. Like in my country, if you try to rob someone during a national emergency, like there's a flood, there's a power outage nationwide, right? And it's been going on for a while, and you have like a state of emergency, and you try to rob someone. Oh my goodness! Like all the crimes go up, right? And so no, you don't have to have a mound in the background, in the backyard. You can simply state what happened. You can be like, well, they came to rob me. Do you have witnesses? Yes. They're not from around here. Yeah. Anyway. In America, no. That's so fucking stupid. Like in America, especially, it should be the case. Like when you have a hurricane, right? Like you have a hurricane that's about to hit a city. And people are evacuating and everyone is running away. And you have like some looters. Like in America, I would expect that they would be shot on sight. Like the very idea, like what type of person can you integrate in a society that takes advantage on such levels of human misery? Like everyone is running away, everyone is desperate, people are losing their jobs, they're losing their homes, and you stay back in order to rob and mug and pillage? And you want what, like compassion and empathy? No, like the police should have a shoot on sight order, Jesus. That's probably what America would have done like 100 years ago. Like, let's be honest, am I wrong here? Like, during times of national crises, where everyone is getting fucked and people are afraid and shit, criminals should be treated far worse. Because they're taking advantage of human misery and suffering. California? I don't know how it's in California. Again, I'm pretty sure like different states have different takes. I'm from America and living in Texas. I mean, by not telling them about the mound is, well, shitters came from me, enough said. We do not take kindly to that shit. Yeah, no, that's a healthy American mindset to have. I don't think there's any justification to go into someone's house. Like, a lot of feminists, they talk about rape being the worst crime on earth. Which it is. I'm not saying it's not, but I think very close. I don't know if like above or below rape, you have home invasion. The idea that someone breaks into your house, in the sanctity of your own home, like the place that you expect to be safe, the place that your wife and children sleep under, knowing that someone broke in, it traumatizes a person. Like it makes you wonder. It's like, well, they broke in once. What's to stop them from breaking in again? And so, yeah, this type of crime should be punished severely and taken very seriously. Home invasion is not a joke. It's an awful thing. Anyway, right. No, we're going to talk about the elections now. Give me a second. We'll talk about the elections. So the Romanian elections. The history of the Romanian elections, as you guys may know, is that it got canceled, right? Like we canceled an election because of Russian interference, right? So like the Russians, they fucked with us on TikTok, and because the Russians fucked with us on TikTok, we had to cancel the elections and do them over again. So, this guy on the right, Mr. Georgescu, he was the one who won the first round of election. Like the way it works in Romania is that you have various parties, 5, 6, sometimes 7 or more. And they all put on a candidate. And you have the first time, it's kind of like a Democrat primary or a Republican primary, right? That is like the first election period. And the candidates that have the most votes, the first two ones, they go into the second period. So it's kind of, yeah, I think like it's very similar to the primary system in America, right? Like you have 7 or 8 Democrats, and they have an election. And the number 1 Democrat is going to go against the number 1 Republican, right? It's kind of a similar thing, a little bit more different, but yeah. And so Romania has 2 major established parties. Like these parties have managed to win elections for decades. And so they have like their own oligarchs and their own grifters and, you know, the people that are there, the career politicians, if you will. And these parties are the left and the right, the Social Democrats and the National Liberals. And these are like the major cornerstone parties, kind of like the CDU and the SPD in Germany. Again, like I'm trying to make comparisons that are vague, not exactly the same, just so that people can understand what we're talking about. And the reality is that since the pandemic, people were very dissatisfied with the establishment. Because the way the establishment governed, especially like during the pandemic, by restricting rights, by having people notice that the economy is going in a bad way, people have started voting for the clown pill. Like literally anyone outside the establishment. This is how Romanians protest, right? We don't cancel the vote. We don't vote for the lesser evil. It's like, if you're fucking me, then I'm fucking with you. You know, line goes down for you as well. I literally hear this as an insult in Romania. Să-ți meargă și ție linia în jos, right? Like, may the line go down for you as well. Like, we are sick and tired of seeing GDP line goes up, corporations and rich people are doing good, and we're doing poorly. And so people have realized, instead of trying for the line to go up for we as well, why don't we make their line to go down? And then they will come up with some solutions to unfuck the country, right? Because apparently they don't care about what we say. They don't take us seriously. And so let's make it in their backyard as well. Like, they're building it in our backyard. We already have it. But instead of like trying to get it away from our backyard, let's make one in their backyard as well. Then everyone has one in their backyard, right? Like, this is the Romanian mentality. And so they vote for the extremist candidate. It's literally how it's being said. The institution of the extremist candidate. Like, let's look who's the craziest. Let's look who is the most radical, the most unhinged. And that's the guy we vote. And so, the first time around, none of the established parties managed to have their candidate. And it was like this guy against another chick that was also on from the non-established parliament and with very little support. And so all of a sudden, the Constitutional Court goes like, oh shit, the Russians, they dominated us on TikTok and they canceled the elections. And they forbade this guy from running. And so for the political parties, it was very difficult to field another candidate. Simply because of like, well, the first candidate that they already fielded have lost. So you can't field the second guy. And then they spent a lot of money. Right? Like, elections cost money. They cost millions of dollars. And so it's like, oh shit, like we need to do another election? And they all backed this guy, right? Like, oh, imagine if in Germany you have the CDU, the SPD, the Greens, like all of them are backing the same guy in order to do the next elections. And I gotta say, I think the guy did pretty well, in the sense that no one else would have done better than him. Like, when I say this, like, people go like, what are you talking about? He did really well. He's a man. Like, don't you know his policies? It's like, listen, Mora, listen to the words that I'm saying. Start critically thinking what I'm saying. I'm saying is that you personally, if I give you $1 million to find any other human being on earth that would have done better than this guy, you can't find him, right? Like the candidate, the person, the man, if he was to third time back, if he was to change his policies, if he was to do any of that, he still wouldn't have gotten more percentages. Why? Because people were traumatized from the fact that the elections got canceled. I know the media and the journalists, they treat it like it's a no biggie. It's like, oh, well, this happens, every now and then you cancel an election. But I actually talk with people in real life. You actually go out and you speak with people, and all of them were traumatized that we live in a country that canceled elections. And so they're not going to vote for the candidate whose parties were on watch when the elections got canceled. It's not rocket science. Like, this was beyond predictable. Like they could have had Jesus Christ himself as the candidate and they would still lose. If you get Winston Churchill from the grave and you marry him with a beautiful Romanian woman so that he has Romanian citizenship and that now he can run for the established parties, he would lose. There is no person in history or alive today that could have been in place of Crin Antonescu and managed to get the vote. For the simple fact that they canceled an election. Even people that disagreed with the decision, or sorry, not with the decision, but like with the candidates that had the election. Even those were horrified. It's like, what do you mean you canceled an election? Because the other thing is, if you vote for them, you're normalizing the process. You're justifying it. You're saying, yes, actually, we should have another institution that tells us which are the people we are allowed and not allowed to vote, that protects the people from themselves. And if we don't get the result, the elections get canceled. Like, people don't want to normalize this. Which I think it's a good thing, actually. I think in a democracy, right, in the United States, you would never see elections being canceled. I don't think in the United States you would see, oh, the Russians beat us on TikTok, so... Or that the Supreme Court would say, yeah, Donald Trump can't run, or Kamala Harris is not allowed to run. Like, that doesn't happen in a democracy. Anyway, the mainstream candidate didn't manage to win, despite the fact that, again, as I'm saying, like, I think he was a good politician. Like, he did everything he could. Like, no one could have done better. And so the percentages of votes that he got, I think we're pretty high, right? Pretty high for like if I was in his place, I think I wouldn't have gotten even 5%. But anyway, right? These are the two individuals, right? And so the question is, what are we discussing? Like, are we at the kids table or are we the adults table? The kids table, their policies are, this guy comes in and he goes like, fascist, Putinist, fascist, anti-European, fascist. And then this guy comes up and he's like, global homo, Satanist, George Soros, global homo. And, I don't really disagree with this type of politics. In fact, I would probably do it myself. Because this is what the people want. Right? Like, this is the type of policy that resonates with people. You say global homo, people vote for you. You say fascist, people vote for you. It's okay. If this is what the people want, like, look, you're providing a service. It's still like a job. You need the vote. And if you cry fascist and people vote for you, well, you're going to cry fascist a little bit more. But if you want to talk about the grown-up table, like, what are their policies, right? Like, if they get elected, what actually happens with Romania? Well, I listened to their debate, and I gotta say, I was surprised to notice that they agree on a lot of issues, but they package their message differently, right? So, like, while they're agreeing on issues, they're packaging their message differently for their own bubble. It's kind of like, imagine if myself and Vosh would disagree on a video game, right? And Vosh is calling the video game problematic, I'm calling it degenerate. We're just spreading the same message, but like we're packaging differently for our audience, for our bubble. This is pretty much what they did. They agree on a lot of things. And so the question is like, what exactly do they disagree on? When it comes to policy, both of them have noticed that in the near future, because this is what you vote on, like, let's stop pretending that this is the end of politics, this is the most important election, they're voting for the policy for the next 5 years, right? And they notice that in the next 5 years, the United States and the European Union are being at odds with each other, right? So you have tariff wars, you have ideological backlash, you got all this shit happening. And they understand that there will be times when the United States and the European Unions disagree on some issues. And so the question is like, who does Romania back? Do we back the United States or do we back the European Union? Now, if you talk about realpolitik and you stop doing the whole horseshit with idealism and how things should be, okay. If you're at the grown-up stable, you realize that Romania is a small nation. It's not like Britain, right? It's not having access to the ocean. It's not a nation with strong and powerful allies. No, it's a small nation bordering the Ukraine, very close to Russia, which doesn't really have much to say in international politics. The purpose of Romania is to survive, and the purpose of Romania is to make sure that the citizens don't starve. That's it. You're not going to shape world politics. You don't shape ideology. You don't, And so, historically speaking, Romania has always been trapped by big empires. Like, we've been next to the Russians, we've been next to the Ottomans, we've been next to the Austro-Hungarians, and the strategy for survival is to play the empires against each other. Like, to deal with all the empires and to make sure that you're getting what's good for you and your people. And so when it comes to the United States, we need NATO. Like, they're the ones that provide military support for us. They're the reasons that Russia doesn't threaten us, not necessarily militarily, but economically as well. And so having the Americans on your good side is very important. It's crucial, in my opinion. But the European Union, well, we are a member state. And while they're not going to flood us with milk and honey, they can definitely fuck us pretty bad. They can fuck us the same way that they're fucking Hungary. Taxes, new legislation tailored to fuck our industry, NGOs that are causing dissent and fomenting unrest. Right? So like we especially now that we're in a fragile economic crisis, the question is, can we afford the European Union to fuck with us? And if they do, will the Americans help us? And you gotta notice, it's like, okay, hold on a little bit. We're talking about Trump's America, right? And Trump's America is, one day you're fine, and you think that everything is peachy. The next day you get tariffs. Right? Like, look what's happening with Canada. And I know that many Americans, especially the MAGA movement, are like, well, Canada has treated America unfairly. They're treating us unfairly. Unfairly they are treating. Okay. And so I need to ask now the question, is Romania treating America unfairly? Because I don't fucking know. Is Romania treating America unfairly? I genuinely don't know. I would like the answer to this. Because I don't want to wake up tomorrow and have like Donald Trump, Romania is treating America unfairly. Holy shit. Right? I'm not the one making business deals. I'm not the ones setting economic policy. I don't know if Romania is treating America unfairly. I genuinely don't. I hope it's not. Like, if it's up to me and I'm putting it up to a vote, I would say, no, we need to treat America very fairly. And I'm pretty sure most Romanians think the same, but like what we think and what is reality is different because the politicians are the ones that are treating America, right? And they don't make a big fuss out of it. I don't even know if we're treating Europe fairly. But what I do know is that if we are treating America unfairly and then we need help from the Americans, well, it's like, oh, well, tariffs. What if the Russians do attack? Will the Americans defend us? Or will they go like, rare earth minerals, what can you give? Give to Uncle Sam. It's like, yeah, but we had trade deals. Yeah, well, the trade deals is only the first part of the negotiations. What do you give to us? Give, we take. And so, like, are these not legitimate questions that you would ask if you were a Romanian voter, right? Like, why do you want Americans? You want Americans to do business with them, right? And you want Americans to protect you against the Russians, according to the deal that they signed with our country. Like, if they said, you gotta take their word. I mean, they're honorable people. Men of God. Like, they're not going to go back on their deal. But you notice what's happening, and some questions are worthy of being asked. It's like, well, will they help us, though? Will they tariff us? Are we treating them fairly? I don't fucking know. And so, like, both of these opinions, right? Like, this guy is like, well, if the European Union is arguing with America, we need to align with the European Union. This guy is, well, if the European Union is arguing with America, we need to ally with America. I gotta say, I don't know. I can't see the future. I can see that both opinions have their merit. I can have arguments for and against either of them. But people will vote, right? So, like, if you're voting for this guy, you're voting for America to have a stronger say in Romanian politics. If you're voting for this guy, you're saying that Europe is going to have a stronger say. Again, we're talking real politics. I don't care about ideology, idealism, right? What I do know is that if you pick one, you're going to upset the other. If you pick America, you're probably going to upset the EU. So you're probably going to get more, fines and sanctions and whatever the fuck. If you're upsetting America, you may get tariffs, military bases pulling out, and all that. It's not a win-win. Like no matter what you pick, as a Romanian living here, there's going to be consequences. Can we go through the consequences? Maybe. But basically, this guy is pro-American, right? And he has 40% of the vote in the first runoff. This guy is pro-EU, and he got 20%. It's going to be very difficult for him to recover, not impossible. But if he keeps on by screaming fascist, Putinist, I don't think he's going to get many more votes. Now, the second guy, this one, he wants to bring Georgescu back, right? Like, he's basically saying that Georgescu was the will of the people weren't allowed to vote. And so he wants to make him prime minister. And the interesting thing is that, according to Romanian constitution, once the president is elected, he can name a prime minister. And if he names a prime minister twice, and the prime minister doesn't get, like the parliament has to vet them in, right? And if they don't vet them in twice, then the parliament can be dissolved, and you have new elections. I think Georgescu may actually be prime minister. I think this because the parliament probably doesn't want to lose their seats. It's difficult to get elected, right? And if you have like another election, especially with this guy, my opinion on this guy, and I have said before, a lot of people don't really agree with me. I don't like this guy because not because of what he says, but because of what he did. Like, if you look at the history of this guy, it's kind of like to me, this is how it seems. It's like Vosh all of a sudden becoming a right-winger. And assume that Vosh is saying all the correct things, he's having all the correct talking points, like he's a right-winger now. But he's Vosh, like, you know what he did, you know his past, do you believe him? Right? So, wouldn't you say that Vosh is grifting? That's my take with Georgescu. It's not what he says, it's not what he did, it's that I know his past. And based on the stuff that I've seen in his past, I don't think he's a good fit. However, if the people want him, and I have to say that we live in a democracy, even if I think he's a bad fit, I can't say that it's undemocratic or it is what it is. We're going to get him for prime minister. Prime ministers can also be revoked if they do a bad job. There's checks and balances. It's not the end of the fucking world. Not my guy, but at the same time, I'm not against it. If the people want this, that's what the people want. What I do know is that Romania is heading through a really, really bad economic crisis. The currency is being depreciated in front of the euro. Whatever people pick, I hope they make a right choice, because bad times are coming. Very bad times. And one of the ways to get through the bad times, one of the candidates wants to increase taxes. Because they have to, right? Like what happened during the pandemic, what happened during other things. Like, well, you need to start taxing more. The other guy wants to fire more people from the government. And given the fact that I don't work for the government, it's my self-interest that they do. But these things matter, right? Like, again, they agree on the problem that Romania is going through a crisis, but how will they fix it is where they disagree. One of them says, oh, we're going to get more investment and money from the European Union. The other one is like, oh, we're going to be good with the United States and we're going to use them as allies and hopefully they will invest with us. Which is the correct choice? I don't fucking know. What I do know is that they're both valid. I can see arguments for and against. And hopefully, whatever we pick, we can go through the problems that that choice will cause. Because as a small country at the edge of the European Union, upsetting the empire, upsetting the European Union can have consequences. And I don't think America is going to shield us from the consequences. I don't think they care. And to be honest, if I was America, I would probably not care as much either. It's like, okay, it's a small country in Europe. You care a little bit, but not a lot. Yeah, the Chad did steal our flag, yes. They liberated the Germans. Look at how that turned out. Yeah, but they also liberated the Japanese. And it turned out better, America, for better or for worse, has always protected its investments. Or at least tried to protect its investments. So, if America is investing into a massive NATO base, where we're at, then I do think they at least have some interests in protecting us. And I think like America's interests in Romania are mostly militarily. Which, to be fair, is pretty much what we want as well. So as long as we play ball with NATO and we're doing what is asked of us, like pay, I think it's like 5% of the GDP to NATO, I think America is fine. The European Union, they're a lot more invasive. Like, they don't just care, well, actually, they're not really that much interested in military right now. They're more interested in making sure that the German and the Austrian businesses are flourishing in Romania, making sure that we keep on our lane, making sure that we think correctly, we think the correct thoughts, we say the correct things, right? Like, that's the European Union's interest. Personally, between the EU and the United States, I like the United States more. However, I do understand that the European Union has a pretty big stick, and I prefer if they keep beating Hungary rather than start beating us with it. Because we're going through an economic crisis. I'm not saying that in the future, standing on your own interests, and if your interests go against the European Union, you shouldn't focus on accomplishing your interests. No, like, of course not. However, I don't think now is the time. Now is not the time to play strong arm with the European Union when you're going through an economic crisis already. Right? Like, that's my take on the issue. America has a lot of interest in Romania. Yeah, but like America has a lot of interests around the world, right? So like you can't expect that you're going to get preferential treatment when you're a small nation. Like for instance, America has a lot more interest in the Middle East or in the South China Sea than it has in Romania. Putting the national sign on the Romanian flag is essentially a Moldavian flag. Moldavia and Romania were part of the same country, so that's why. At this point, Georgescu deserves the seat simply because of how unfairly he was treated. I think the symbolism is important. I don't think that people were asked or that the leaders even care whether or not the people are okay with elections being canceled. And I think the answer is that overwhelmingly, more than half of the population didn't appreciate the fact that elections were canceled. And so the message has to be sent because you don't want to normalize the practice. You don't want to make it normal for elections to be canceled willy-nilly. And so if they realize, okay, we can cancel elections, but there's consequences, then they will hopefully not cancel them in the future. I don't want to see, in my lifetime, elections getting canceled for any reason. Even if the people that I don't like manage to win, there's just no justification. Like, it wouldn't happen in America, and I don't see why it should happen here. Anyway, democracy supporters getting exactly what they voted for the 57th consecutive time. But this isn't what I voted for? No, like, I'm actually happy with what happened after the pandemic. I'm actually happy with what's happening now in the parliament. What I want to get is legislation stability. Legislation stability. Like a lot of people, they look at the government as this monolith, right? Like the government is always in agreement. The reality is that there are many factions of the government. It's kind of like Game of Thrones, right? Now, if you're a peasant in the world of Game of Thrones, sometimes the nobles agree, and that's when your life becomes really bad. Other times the nobles disagree, and they're more focused on each other rather than on you. And so if you look at the United States, there is no Republican Party. You have the neocons, you have the religious people, you have the libertarians. Like, there's more factions. You know, you got the MAGA movement, which is powerful right now. You got more factions in the Republican Party. You got more factions in the Democrats. And so I love it when the factions hate each other. Like in my country, when they're arguing with each other, they don't pass legislation. When they don't pass legislation, you get legislation stability. You get predictability for the private sector. But more importantly, they don't add more taxes. They don't like make my life harder. So when my life is easy, why wouldn't I want to make sure that no political party in my country manages to get a majority of votes? And then it's difficult for them to make governments. It's difficult for them to do things because they have to compromise. They have to constantly argue. And this was during the pandemic. Like, during the pandemic, Romania had some of the strictest pandemic measures in the beginning. They even deployed the military in the streets. And so, once the elections came, and they weren't able to form governments, and they started arguing with them, all of the restrictions loosened. Almost everything was, like, on paper only. And that's, like, me getting what I voted for. I voted for that. I generally wanted them to have difficulty forming a government because, like, there's the percentages that they got after the elections was in such a way that making a government was difficult. I like that. I got what I voted for. Now, hopefully I get the same thing with the current parliament. I actually don't care if elections get cancelled as long as it benefits me and it harms my enemy. Well, see, this is the problem, though. This is what happens with the current way of thinking. And it's like, okay, maybe it benefits me now that the elections are getting canceled. But if this gets normalized, what if, like, the next time it doesn't benefit me? And the Democrats got really burned with this mentality when it came to the filibuster. So the Democrats, they really hated the filibuster, and they got rid of it. And Mitchell told them at the time, it's like, look, you can get rid of the filibuster if you want, and you're harming us. But there's going to come a time in the future when you're going to wish that the filibuster wasn't removed. And it actually came at the end of the Trump's presidency, a couple of months before he left office. A SCOTUS judge passed away. Oh, the Democrats would have loved the filibuster then. They would have absolutely enjoyed the filibuster. Well, guess what? Guess who removed it, right? So the Republicans, what they do? They got another judge in. Who's to blame? Right? But at the time, it's like, oh, well, we need it because it benefits us. Yeah, but you lost a Supreme Court judge. Like, that's a huge cultural thing. You know, like, winning an election, that's a 4-year thing. A Supreme Court judge, like, that changes decades of legislation and interpretation. Yeah, politicians arguing with each other isn't war. Like, let's not be ridiculous about it. It just means that they don't get their way. It is a principled position. Like, I'm looking at how I want the... And in fact, maybe it's not principle, maybe it's realpolitik. But, like, I noticed that my country, every single time a new law passes, my taxes go up. There's more bureaucracy, my freedom goes... So, like, why is it my interest for politicians to keep doing this? Like, my interest is for them to stop. And when they stop, when they have to argue with each other. So, making sure that each party doesn't get sufficient percentages, and I support the underdog, in order to make sure that the underdog is having enough percentages to inconvenience, I think that's a really smart way of doing politics. Principal politics leads you with getting taxed more, and it leads you with having more rights taken away. I left Romania at 19 and never bothered voting, but I will vote next weekend because of their audacity to straight up cancel an election. This is the exact same thing I keep hearing on the streets. Like, I keep hearing people that weren't interested in voting, and I tell them, it's like, look, Romania was traumatized by the fact that they canceled an election. You can't just do that and pretend it's normal. And so, like, many people that wouldn't have voted, like, they specifically went and voted this election because they didn't agree with the fact that this should become normalized. I don't think they will cancel this one too. To be honest, I want them to cancel this one. Cancel all of them. I don't fucking care. Like, create as much instability as you want. As I mentioned before, you know, like, they were just putting up new taxes in the rifle, and they were about to fire a new wave of taxes. Oh, now they can't. Why? Because the prime minister resigned. Perfect. Less taxes. Why do I need a carbon tax? Why would I be upset? How does it advantage me to get more taxes? I love it that Lasconi, that was in the second election run and got over 20% and now 2. Yeah. The first time, Nicu Șordan, which is from, well, associated with her party in some vague ways, he wasn't running, right? So, like, now that he did run, all of his votes got taken away. Like, imagine in America, let's say, you have the first time the Florida governor, right? You got DeSantis running. And DeSantis manages to get 45%. But then they redo the election and now Trump is running against DeSantis. Well, if Trump is running, DeSantis will probably get like 5. Right? This is pretty much what happened. It's not like it's because of her or what she said or what she did. It's just like someone from her bubble that was far outweighing her in popularity managed to win. And there's also another thing, right? This is actually fucking hilarious. But just so you can understand how Romanians think politics. Like this doesn't even exist in the American mindset. Like, I don't think you guys would ever make these decisions. This guy right now is the mayor of the capital city. Like, he is responsible for how the capital city, Bucharest, is run. I know a lot of people that despise the living shit out of him, and they're voting for him because they want him president so he fucks off from Bucharest. Can you imagine that mentality? And I get the point, you know, it's like the corporate way. It's like you got promoted upwards. But they want him president so he stops being the mayor of Bucharest. And again, like, I know people that actually despise him, like, to the core. Because everything he does in Bucharest is bad. And they're like, I want him to be the president so he can go be a glorified diplomat and do other shit, but leave my city alone. And it's, it's an interesting take. Valid. Is there ever a good reason to cancel elections? Yes. But you have to prove it. And I think if you do it, you should get punished anyway. When do you cancel an election? If you notice that there was ample amounts of fraud. Like you can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the elections was frauded. If you can prove that people were constrained en masse to vote for a specific candidate. If you can prove that one of the candidates lied about their birth or citizenship, right? If that's the case and you cancel an election because of that, I think most people will agree. I think you still should get punished, just, like be a martyr for the cause. But I do think, like, yes, there are situations where even I would say, yeah, no, like, you need to cancel the elections. But, like, none of those applied here. The simple fact that, they beat us on TikTok, that doesn't seem to resonate with what most of the people are saying. And at the end of the day, it's the people that vote. Martial law. Yeah, martial law is another reason to cancel an election. I know that the United States is different. I know that they did their own things there. But normally, most countries on planet Earth, if they're under siege, like if the enemy forces are on your soil, you cancel elections. Like, how do you vote behind enemy lines? Now, if you have a federal system like the United States, right? Okay, you lose some states. You actually expect that the states that are in open rebellion, they're not going to vote for you. Like, all right. But if you don't have a federal state and you just have a country, like in Ukraine, right? How do you organize elections? Like how do people that are behind the enemy line, like the people that are on the Russian side, how do they vote? How can you supervise that the vote is done correctly? What's to stop the Russian army from just switching the votes or burning down the votes that are for the guy they don't like, right? And so I understand that when a nation is under siege and you have like the enemy forces on your soil, yeah, you can't have elections. And in fact, most nations around the world, they're like having different legislation and different systems of how they behave when they're under attack. And it's not like, like America waging war in Iraq. No, it's like the enemy troops are literally on your ground. Again, I know that it worked in the United States, okay? But you guys have a different system. You have a federal system. And so, like in the US, you can say, okay, well, these states may vote against us. All right, fine. But if you don't have a federal system, it's just like a popular vote. Well, that's a different thing. And not to mention, how do you even campaign? Like, how do you campaign for the people that are behind the enemy lines, right? Like, do you expect Zelensky, the green t-shirt, right, to be allowed by the Russians? It's like, okay, you have elections, Mr. Zelensky, so yeah, you can go in Donetsk. You can go and campaign over there, sure. Why not? What if it's someone from Donetsk that wants to campaign, right? Like, would Zelensky allow him to come to Kiev and, right? Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Russia ran a vote in Ukraine during the war. It was the most united. Yeah, and no one believes that. Like, that's the reason why no one even believes the Russian vote. Because you're right, yeah, they did. And do you remember what I said in those videos at the time? And so I'm consistent with my beliefs. It's not that, oh, well, the Russians did it. Yeah, I know, sure. But, like, if you're trying to point out exactly what I'm saying, that by running a vote under the Red Army, it was the most unanimous vote in history, yeah, okay, fine. That's how we got communism here as well. We voted while behind Russian lines. Speaking of the Romanian elections, Nicu Șordan strikes me as a psyop. The moment when he said something to the extent of having Iohannis as an advisor when he gets in, I knew something is up. It depends what you mean on psyop, but like if you're thinking that the man has ties with other political parties, yes. And does it have ties with the president? Of course. I mean, USR, PSD, and PNL, they all were at the government at some point, right? Like they were running the government. Of course they know each other. Why would Russia lie? Wait, like, I don't really understand the question. Am I denying the elections? Yes. I think like some elections are more fair than others. Absolutely. Anyway, I think I managed to cover these two events so far, and yeah, I think it's sarcasm too. It doesn't translate very well on text. Yeah, no, I get it. My bad. All of my instincts are telling me I'm falling into a trap by voting our. Again, I told you I don't think that is a right or wrong vote. Like there are times when like it's obvious that this is the correct vote. Now you're voting for consequences. Do you piss off the European Union or do you piss off the United States? I think both of these entities have the power of crippling Romania financially, economically, and lowering your standard of living. And so it's up to you, like I don't think there's a good decision because I don't think you can please both. Like, there's no decision that you can please both. And so you gotta pick and choose. One of them is the EU candidate. And so when America and the European Union are going to intensify their trade war or whatever, Romania is going to align itself with the European Union vision. The other one is the US candidate, and they're going to align Romania with the US vision. Which one is correct? I don't know, but I know you're pissing off the other. And if you're pissing off the European Union, you're going to get sanctions, fines, less investment, legislation, NGOs fucking with you. If you're pissing off the United States, you get removed from the visa, which already happened. Although maybe we can be placed back in. You get tariffs. You get soldiers potentially pulling out. Like you can get other things, right? So which one is better? I don't know. Did we ever had a good choice? Yes. Traian Băsescu was a good choice, I think. I don't think Iohannis was a bad choice. He didn't do jack shit. Which is exactly what I want the president to do. Like, if a president does fucking nothing, it makes me so fucking happy. I want presidents to do either nothing or like just something that I like, which is very rare. And so them actually doing nothing, shutting the fuck up and taking private jet planes and shit, that pleases me. In the UK, you voted for more Muslim immigrants, you got more of them. If you voted against them, you get more Muslim immigrants. No, in the UK, if you voted UKIP, you wouldn't have got that, right? But like, people in the UK, they care more about morality, ideals, and if the person has a potty mouth or not. People in the UK don't vote for the joke candidate. If you vote for the joke candidate, it blows the system out of the water. Like, fascist, the moment you start voting, okay, the extremist, who is he? That's the thing, right? Like, if the people that piss you off, and you're looking at, like, who do they hate? And you vote for that person regardless who they is, regardless of what they say, regardless of what they did, you destabilize the system. I don't fucking care, like, literally anything that the guy that I'm voting for, anything that he does comes out, I don't care. I still vote for him. Why? Because they hate him. That's why. I'm not... See, like, this is the mentality that the West needs to adopt if you want to get out of a bad situation. You're not voting for the guy. You're not voting for Trump. You're not voting for Nigel Farage. You're not voting for the AFD. You're voting to piss the other people off. That's why you're voting. You're not voting for a good life. You're voting to piss them off. You're voting to make their life miserable. And so when Donald Trump comes up and the economy is tanking, but the Democrats are suffering, that's what you voted for. And why do you do this? You don't do this on eternity. You do this so that they realize that the people are unhinged and maybe we should stop fucking with those people. Maybe we should make the line to go up for the people a little bit so they don't fuck with us in return. Because they're spiteful and unhinged. And nothing we say persuades them otherwise. If we say that Donald Trump is a womanizer and he grabbed them by the pussy, they vote for him. If we say that he's a criminal, they vote for him. If we say that he's a misogynist and a fascist, they vote for him. They don't fucking care. They vote for him because they hate us. Right? When you get with that mindset, when you start applying that logic, that's when things change. Things don't change if you're like, yeah, but he said, oh, but did you see what they said? Oh my goodness. But like she said, and well, okay. Yeah, no vote to reduce taxes, then vote to increase their taxes. Vote to cause them inflation. Vote to cause them economic hardship. If they keep taxing you, if they keep making your life miserable, and if you have no vote to change that, fuck with them. Make sure that your suffering is something that they too experience. Bring it in their backyard. Why is it so difficult to understand? Oh, but morality, but idealism. Okay, we're talking about the real world here. You're playing with the cards that you have. In a perfect system, you would vote for less taxes, but that's not the option, right? You don't have that option. So make their life miserable because you do have that option. Basescu was okay in the beginning. He got worse towards the end of his presidency. He was a character, cult of personality for sure. Well, yeah, but like, historically speaking, you will get those types of presidents. Every now and then you do have like the charismatic leader. And the charismatic leader is usually arrogant, is usually obsessed with his own image. Vote for me, the Unhinged Citizen Party. We don't care if it's legal to do the government employees, we do it anyway. That pretty much. Like everything Trump is doing, and they don't understand why he still has the support, is because Americans have started thinking like Eastern Europeans. And they're like, okay, you fucked with us, we're fucking with you. It's not about fairness, it's not about principles, it's not even about ideology, it's not making a better country for everyone, quite the opposite. It's to make you suffer until you realize that we're unhinged, we're spiteful, and so you need to start changing. Stop fucking with us, let us grill. And we'll leave you alone. And until you don't, you're going to get more Trumps. That's how people think. That's how people vote now in Eastern Europe. Their lives will never be miserable. Oh, they don't need to end up starving in order to have miserable lives. It's just like when their businesses go under, when their nephews and their aunts get fired from government positions, when they're losing their seats and they lose their influence and prestige, that's suffering. Yeah, they're not going to suffer as much as you because, you know, you can't pay the hospital bills and you can't pay the electric bills. That's true. They can't suffer as you. But still, they're suffering and they don't like it. Creates Eastern European condition. People start thinking like Eastern Europe. Yeah, pretty much is what happened in a lot of places in America. I would have voted for the most far-right party every year, but the Conservatives, Labour, Lib Dems, and Greens have been my only option. Did you have UKIP? You have troll candidates, okay? The problem is British people don't think like Eastern Europeans. Like, you need to vote for the most troll, extremist person in the room. You have Tommy Robinson. You didn't vote for him. Oh, but he's with the Jews and he's like that. Okay, sure, yeah. Well, then have more Labour. Have more Conservatives. Oh, but he's a grifter. It doesn't fucking matter he's a grifter. Doesn't fucking matter. What matters is that they don't like him. Let me show you an example. This is the woman that I personally voted for. She's from my town. Went with the muzzle in the European Union. Brought Jesus in the European Union. Got priests to spray with holy water in the European Union in order to cleanse the demons. Do I think that she's a good statesman? No. Do I think that she's coherent, that she has points? No. What does she do? She screams and she annoys. That's why I voted for her. If she stops screaming, if she stops sparking out, I will stop voting for her. This is what people don't understand. They don't even understand my mindset, that there are people like me that actually do vote for someone to be a cheeky little shit at a place of prestige. We're not voting for her to do anything else besides do nothing. Why? Because we notice that those places increase our taxes, take away our rights, promote censorship, push legislation that don't advantage us, and they do not give us a proper option. Like when we have a proper option, oh, he's a fascist, he's a this, he's a that. And then they also try to bury it. And then what do? You vote for the clown. You vote for the clown. And if she stops being a clown, I'll vote for someone else that's more clownish than her. And I'm not the only one that thinks this way if this woman got elected. Because everyone that votes for her votes for literally the same reasons. It's not like she is, going to make really impressive legislation or like, no. But is she going to make a mockery and a joke out of the institution? Yes. Perfect. That's what I want. British people don't think this way. British people are too polite. Oh, wow, but where's the ideology? Where's the dad? Okay. Yeah, exactly. I don't like her politically. Why would I want a politician in the European Union? A politician in the European Union can raise my taxes, can make my life more difficult. I want a clown. I want a clown in the European Union. If you had like a clown from the circus running, I would vote. The cleaning lady. She would be a perfect candidate for the European Union. Any cleaning lady. Right? And so, unless you do that in Britain, you can't say, oh, well, like the Lib Dems and the Greens and like, who cares? Are they the clowns? No. Who's the clown? Well, the clown is Tommy Robinson and others and Nigel Farage, right? Where's them? Oh, we don't have them. Okay. Anyway. I don't think the demons have been fully exorcised yet. We need another priest brought to spray the holy water. I think she brings it one every year. I think it's her personal tradition. That actually did happen, like the cleaning lady. Again, like Eastern Europe mindset. The cleaning lady won in Russia. So there was this village in Russia where no one wanted to run against the mayor. And so the mayor wanted someone to run against him in order to make it look legit. And he got his own cleaning lady to run. Because obviously he was like, well, she's just running, right? Like no one votes for her, I still win, and it looks good. People voted for the cleaning lady. And apparently she's a good fucking mayor, chat. She's a good fucking mayor. Right? Like this is what I'm talking about. Like if you keep voting for the established politician that has already lived the life, vote for a new guy. Doesn't matter who. Like there's this even mentality in Romania. It's like, dude, the current establishment, they're corrupt and they're going to rob me. Now, I don't know about the new guy. Like, there is a small chance, a very small chance, that the new guy may not rob me. Chances are he will rob me too. But what I do know is that the current establishment definitely will rob me. 100%. And so I'm not voting for them. I'm voting for the small chance that maybe there's a guy that actually does things. America did that with Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Like you had in California, yeah? Arnold Schwarzenegger running for the governor. Everyone was laughing. Everyone was showing the police cop and his comedy movies to ridicule and laugh at it. From my understanding, he was a good governor compared to the other shit that came after him, right? You didn't have a fentanyl crisis during Arnold. You didn't have like legislation that allows people to steal less than $1,000 worth of goods and get away with it. You didn't have that shit during Arnold. People took a chance. They voted for the clown candidate, literally the clown. And it turns out that he was actually a good person. Same with Donald Trump, right? Like, Donald Trump was considered the clown candidate. No one was taking him seriously. Comedians were making fun of him. No one thought that he's going to win. And then he won, right? Because people took and voted for the clown. Now, if you're in places like Canada, the United Kingdom, and you're like, oh no, we need to vote for someone presentable. We can't vote for him because he said that, he said this. He's a misogynist, he's a fascist, he's a... Like, so far, I noticed that a lot of people that were labeled fascists managed to win elections, and no fascism came. Happened years ago, you know, they finished their term, they stepped down, but they were fascists, like the media was saying, right? No, they stepped down, the transfer of power happened, and they didn't crack down. Turns out most nations today have constitutions and shit. I lived in Cali at the time and voted for him because he was Republican. Believe it or not, I wasn't into politics at the time, right? But I knew that Arnold Schwarzenegger is definitely the perfect choice. Like, I knew that he is the perfect politician. And so the answer is, like, why? Why would I think that Arnold Schwarzenegger is the perfect politician? And I had no idea about Republican, Democrats, or anything like that. What I did know is that people who get into politics usually get it for money, for grifting. And I was like, okay, but Arnold Schwarzenegger already is wealthy. Like, he's already a multi-millionaire. At the time, like, before inflation, that was even more than today, right? So I already know that he's rich as fuck. He doesn't need money. I already knew that he's already famous. He's not getting into politics to be famous. What if he's actually getting into politics in order to make stuff better for everyone? Did he manage? Well, not really, because like there's a lot of things that work against you. The system doesn't want to be changed, right? But compared to other governors, was he good? Yeah. Same thing with Donald Trump, right? Like, Donald Trump already had money, already had wealth, already had fame. Would it be safe to say that he's wanting to get into politics specifically to make life better for everyone? Yes. At least his base, at least his voters, he does care about them. Arnold was funny because they complained about him smoking cigars. So he built an outdoor cigar lounge to take meetings with political opponents and literally blew smoke in their faces. I didn't know that. Australia had a bunch of F-slur minority parties, but they're all cringe. It's not about if they're cringe or not. Like, that's the thing. Until you learn that you should sometimes vote for the cringe, you're not going to win. You don't vote for someone for what they do. You vote for someone based on how much the incumbent party hates them. That's how you do it. Who do they hate and how much? And you vote for the ones that they despise, regardless of what that person does. Even if he's mired in sexual assault cases, I don't fucking care. The more the better. The more they hate him, the more they despise him, you know? Because, like, the sexual assault cases are also a tactic now. How many times did you not see a politician runs for office or a Supreme Court judge or something, all of a sudden the sexual assault allegations? I don't give a single flying fuck anymore. If I know that they hate someone, I tune off the television, I don't listen to anything, I keep voting. No matter what happens. Keep fucking voting. While he's on the ballot, he's got my vote, because I don't vote for the person, I vote against the incumbents. And like me, there's many people here, and that's how you get change. Yeah, but like, you know, okay, so like the screw your freedom. Perfect example. Let's take the screw your freedom argument, right? You have Arnold Schwarzenegger, screw your freedom. Did Gavin Newsom ever say screw your freedom? No. Gavin Newsom has never said in his entire life, screw your freedoms. Who was a better governor, Gavin Newsom or Arnold Schwarzenegger? Arnold Schwarzenegger did say screw your freedoms, but he had less of a homeless population, had less of a drug epidemic, didn't have laws that said if you steal less than $1,000, police doesn't catch you, didn't demonize the police, crime rates were lower under him, right? So at the end of the day, you know, there's that parable that actual Jesus has said, And like, this is the definition of America. And until you guys don't understand this parable, you're going to keep having a bad time. There is a father that talks with two of his children, and he asks them to go work in the vineyard. One of the sons says that he will work, and the other son goes against the father and says that he doesn't want to work. Later that evening, the son that said that he will work chooses not to, and the son that says he won't work changes his mind. Which one of these two sons are more important? Which one of these two sons did the right thing? The one that told the father that he will work and then did not? Or the son that told the father that he's not interested in working and then he did? Americans, and not just Americans, but our current generation, we have to start understanding that judging people based on their accomplishments and based on what they actually do outweighs by 1,000,000 times the shit they say. I don't fucking care if Arnold Schwarzenegger said screw your freedoms. And also, you need to take into account that some people have good and bad, right? Like, some people have good opinions and bad opinions. Every single person is a package. There is no person without bad things. And so, if you look at what Arnold did, outweighs Gavin Newsom by a huge margin. Are there things that Gavin Newsom did that are better than Arnold? Sure. Are there things that Arnold did that are bad than Gavin Newsom? Of course. But on the whole, and you also need to take into account that people change. You know, like the first Arnold, when he was governor, maybe he would have treated COVID differently. Maybe he wouldn't have said screw your freedoms. People age. Why would we assume that the same arguments that people had 10 years ago are the same things that they hold today? Or that you're still, like, do you guys not have friends when you grew up and you distance yourself so much from them that it's like a completely different person now? Why is it that, like, okay, he said something back then, you know, years ago, like 5 years, he said screw your freedoms. Does he still believe that now? Does that mean that we should forget and pretend that he didn't say it? No. But you should take it with context and nuance. Would Arnold Schwarzenegger be a good governor now compared to Gavin Newsom? I think absolutely. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger would definitely make a better governor than Gavin Newsom, who never said screw your freedoms. I think a lot of celebrities that were common sense people before 2015 have lost their minds. I don't think it's Trump. I think it's like just Hollywood and how it works, right? So like back then, because you didn't have social media, they didn't use celebrities as often. And celebrities back then knew that they can't alienate their audience. But now the mindset is that if you don't say the correct things, you don't speak the correct speech, they don't hire you. How can you tell when politicians are lying, their mouths are moving? I assume everyone lies. But like I'm trying to say, okay, if you have Diana Shoshaka, right? She's got no strong political party. She doesn't have that much power. Like, she's a lot more safe, even if she's lying, than a guy that's competent and apparently never lies. Gavin Newsom was mayor of San Francisco leading gay pride parades. I will tell you something else about gay pride and shit, right? Sometimes when you have cultural worldwide movements, I am pretty sure that even Arnold Schwarzenegger would have led gay pride parades. Like, the whole woke ideology, that was global. And the reality is, like, when it's time for an ideology, it's time for an ideology. You can't stop it. You know, it's like the fall of the monarchy. Like, when it's time for that to happen, it will happen. I think in the future, we're going to witness a conservative movement that's also going to be worldwide. And you can't stop it. Like, when it's time for an idea, it's time for an idea. You can censor it, you can suppress it, you can do anything you want. But the idea is coming. The only thing you can do, if you disagree with the idea, is to make sure you don't allow the idea to go through you. You know, you're not participating in it. You're not, right? Like, you can pay lip service to it without believing it. It's the same thing that the Catholic Church has done with the progressive Pope. Like, the tree that bends doesn't break, right? Like, if your soul is made of iron, then it breaks. And so, just because the tree bends doesn't mean that the tree doesn't stand upright once the current is gone. And that's pretty much what I think. is with like the woke ideology. Like there were people that paid lip service to it. You can see that AOC definitely paid lip service to it. Like she's one of the first that removed pronouns from her bio. All of the politicians that are first to remove pronouns from the bio, like they're lip servicing it. They don't give a shit about wokeness. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't punish people at the ballot box, right? Like that support the thing. Because like there's one thing, to support wokeness in, okay, you had the pronoun and you were like, oh yes, absolutely, sure. And it's another thing to actually participate in harassment campaigns, to actually direct individuals to target others, to actually try and get other people in trouble. Completely different. Like for instance, Maxine Waters. I was saying that Maxine Waters was definitely a participant in the woke culture that far outweighs what anything AOC has done. Support among LGBTQ issues was more neutral back then when it came to the kids. Yeah, like another thing, when you support LGBTQ, right? It's one thing when you're like, okay, gay people should get married, and you have this take in 2015 when it's like, why shouldn't they? Whatever. And it's another thing when you have the gay San Francisco chorus singing "We're coming for your children." Like, I know many gay people that stopped supporting the LGBT movement when that happened. And so, again, everything is in context. Everything is in nuance. Supporting LGBT in 2015 means something completely different than it meant in 2022. And people need to realize that even though it's the same term, even though it has different meaning. Anyway, right. I'll end it here because I'm probably going to end up boring you. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care.